There's a lot of stigma around leaving behind a safety net, I guess a job that carries a bit of status, all of those things. And so I guess that's probably one of the reasons we didn't ask for help, because we thought we could do it ourselves. But we soon realized actually you do need to ask for help, and people are willing to help.
Welcome to Future Fit Leadership, a podcast for emerging, experienced and executive leaders to build community, grow capability and future focus their career pathways. There has been a global shift in how we lead, and our conversations with leaders and executives explores the skills, strategies and mindsets that is needed to thrive in this ever-evolving landscape of the future. So whether you are a seasoned executive, an aspiring leader, or simply curious about the future of leadership, we are here to give you practical insights to unlock your potential, change the status quo, and break open our assumptions on how work works. Produced in partnership with Future Leadership, a capability ecosystem for boards and executives, Future Fit Leadership is your place for bite-sized learning for executives hungry to make a change. Hello and welcome to Future Fit Leadership. I'm your host, Sadhana Smiles, and I hope wherever you are listening to this podcast, you are well. Today, we are diving into a story of bold career pivots, innovation, and the power of scent. Imagine working in the world of medicine as doctors and pivoting into the vastly different world of business and branding around scents. That's exactly what our guests Suji and Jeeva did. Both doctors by trade, their journey took an unexpected turn when one of them started a business with scented candles, which then evolved into a thriving business built around the science of scent marketing. What started as a side hustle quickly transformed into BrandScent, a company that helps businesses create an unforgettable brand identity through scent. From hotels to retail stores and even major corporate offices, they're crafting signature fragrances that do more than just smell good. They evoke emotions, create memories, and influence behaviour. There are many hotels that I've been to over the years that have a particular scent when you walk in, and I've even brought the spray or candle back home with me to remind me of my time there. I'm sure many of you have probably done the same. Brands develop scents to evoke emotions that tie into the memories that you have, and that then connects you to their brand. But this just isn't about candles and perfumes or buying a standard off-the-shelf scent. It's about the fascinating science behind how scent impacts our emotions, decisions, and even the way we perceive brands. Suji and Jeeva will take us through their incredible journey from their early days navigating their challenges as a startup to making the game-changing pitch on Shark Tank and now pushing the boundaries of scent technology into meditech and AI-driven experiences. So if you've ever walked into a store, hotel, or office, or even a real estate brand and thought, wow, this place smells amazing, chances are it wasn't by accident. Get ready for an eye-opening conversation with the future of branding, business, and the surprising way scent shapes our world. Well, hello, Suji and Jeeva. Welcome to Future Fit Leadership. How are you both today?
Well, thank you, Sandhana. How are you?
Very good, very good. We were just talking off air saying that this is the first time we've had two guests on together. So I'm very excited to talk to both of you. But before we get into what your business is and what you do, I'd love our listeners to know a little bit about both of you. So you're both migrants to Australia and you've both from Sri Lanka. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us the journey. How did you end up in Australia?
I finished medicine and then I was in UK for a couple of years working, and then I moved to Australia as a migrant to work as a doctor, and then so that's how I end up in Australia. And then Suji,
for me, I moved. Although Sri Lankan, my parents left to go to London to study, and so. But then I was raised by my grandmother in Sri Lanka for 2 years. When my mum had me, but I grew up, everything that I know was in England, London, schooling, university. I also finished med school, but it wasn't something that I was passionate about, that I wanted to do. So I stepped more into behind the scenes. I love writing, creativity. So policy development, research kind of is where my role ended. And I met Jeeva not when he was actually in England training. We got
I was
introduced
going to
through
say, did
family.
you actually, given you both doctors, did you actually meet
No,
in the
it
UK?
was
No.
actually after he'd left England to come to Sydney. He was in Sydney at the time that we got introduced and he flew back out. We met. So we met through family, but we got married in England. And I guess I wanted to get away from this, I guess, this pressure cooker of having to do medicine. And I wanted to travel, see Australia, get into more research here. And he was here. So we both moved to Melbourne together in 2009.
Okay. And at some point you decided that you want to do something other than being a doctor. Like how did you even land on scented candles and then the branded scents? Was it something that you've always been passionate about?
So for me, the idea of business was not something that I'd ever considered. In fact, my grandfather was a businessman, but he raised his daughters to, they were engineers, and it was academia is what they were taught to follow. And that's what we thought we needed to do because it was safe. But I loved the art of package design, designing, but also layering of sense and how it makes you feel. How you can come back from a really stressful day, flick on, a scent or a candle, and it just calms you. And it was something that was honestly subsidiary to what I was doing at the time. But when I was on maternity leave with my second son, I guess I dabbled in it more because I had time. And then suddenly, before I knew it, I was making scented candles for friends, and they said, look, you should start a business. And I said, I don't know head nor tail about business. How do you even, where do you start? What do you do? But being 36 weeks pregnant, I think it was that sort of nesting. And I was like, all right, that's it. I'll get an ABN. I'll put a business name down. And I think overnight, I said to Jeeva, this is what I'm doing. He's like, where did this come from in 24 hours? Like, how did this happen?
It was a
And
side hustle and now it's turning into a business.
exactly. That was December 5th in 2015. But we set ourselves a target. So with anything that we do, we have, I guess, essentially what we didn't know the terminology KPI, but we had KPI that if we can turn this investment of $237 into tenfolds in the 4-week period, which was seasonal Christmas, then we might be onto something. And that's what we did, and then some. So then Jeeva, who was working at RCH in allergy, asthma and research, and as a clinician, he said, look, I can help you. It was a bit of his outlet too. It was a bit of stress relief. Obviously, the life of a doctor is quite stressful. For me, I was on maternity leave. It kept my time, kept me busy. And then within 6 months, the brand started to really snowball. We essentially were putting the science back into sense. And we also had this novel wooden wick that we were using. So people really started to buy into the brand story, and the brand started.
I'm going to jump to you, Jeeva, for a second. Like you're a doctor, you're working in a prestigious hospital, your wife had this side hustle and suddenly it's become successful. At what point do you go, I don't want to be a doctor anymore and I want to join the business? And what was for me, quite often when you have startups, one person stays in the, PAYG job because it's the security, you had little kids and you knew that money was coming in. But in this case, what was the key motivator for you to actually jump out of that and take the risk together?
So the main reason we started as a hobby to a business, but then we were missing out the family time, because I remember with the eldest one, we both were at the children's hospital at the time, and he was 17-week old. He was at the childcare, and we out in the morning. I was at the clinic, so my clinic started at 8, and in Parkville, the childcare was there at 7 o'clock when they open, handed it over to someone we don't know, and then the clinic. Most of the time, the clinic runs, till 5 or 6, and we were living in the West in Point Cook, so the traffic was chaotic, and it's take forever to get there. So we normally 6 in the morning, and then when we come back, it's already 7:30 at night. We don't spend any time. And on weekends, I've been working on research clinics and all. So I didn't had the chance to spend time with my elders as working as a doctor. And so that's where we both decided that we have to do something different. And we pretty much like 4 years, we were waiting not to have a second one because we were like, oh, we have to change something. Yeah. And then that's where, when this happened, and I said, look, you wanted to stay a little longer with the little one, so I will help you. So at the beginning, it was like, even though December 5th we registered, but then January 5th, the second son was born. And April, we decided, okay, let's do this, and go and see what we can do. And we are doing just normal, Suji wasn't doing any of those markets, it was all in my hand. So I used to go to small markets and places like that to promote the brand and get the feedback from customers. And it's always been a good thing. And then the business grew from the feedback and learning from the customers, So we actually did the market research at these places, without having to spend a lot of money into the market
Yeah,
research.
so the markets kind of gave you the ideas. It takes a lot of bravery with startups, right? Because you've both come from secure jobs going into startup world, and it takes a lot of bravery for two people to actually do that and put your family really at risk around that as well. So congratulations to both of you on that, because I always take my hats off to couples who do this, and you're a success around it. I'm interested to know, did you put coaches around you at the start? Because quite often with startups, you don't know a lot of things when you're starting up a business, and then you start to employ people, and suddenly you are running the business, managing the finance, doing the HR, doing the selling, doing the markets, you're doing everything. So did you get any professional coaching or help or structure around this?
When we started, obviously, we had no idea about business. We just, we didn't even know what is CRM, what is this, like none of those things. We just thought that, okay, we have a,
An idea.
it's a hobby, it's an idea, and we are taking into a business. But then after 1.5, 2 years time, there's a local council, Suji applied for a award, and we won the small business award. And then after that, they had some, part of the program, they had a coaching. So that's where we started to learn a bit more business. And we both good at learning, like we always like to learn new things. And I think that's helped us. And then from there, we've been doing quite a few different courses too.
When we started, to be honest, we didn't even realize there was such thing as business coaching, that was even a thing. And it was only once we got into that Wynnum City Council, the awards, and started to talk to other business owners and networking. Because as with any startup, it's very kind of lonely. You keep to yourself. You think that you're not really interacting with people. And we weren't networking at that time. Well, didn't realize that there was such things as organizations and networks. We were really solely focused on the business. But that award, 18 months into thing, it's what opened up a lot of opportunities and ideas and doors. So in that course, that it was a 6-month program, we started to lay foundation, because we soon realized that without those foundations, it was really unstable. Like cash flow was crazy. We weren't sure what we were doing, how we were spending. Jeeva was still working at the time. It was only 4 years ago that really Jeeva came into the business 100%. So we did have a stable income at the time, because we needed that, absolutely. As you mentioned, young family, but at the same time, half the income had disappeared. And also there's a lot of stigma around leaving behind a safety net, a job that carries a bit of status, all of those things. And so I guess that's probably one of the reasons we didn't ask for help, because we thought we could do it ourselves. But we soon realized, actually, you do need to ask for help, and people are willing to help. So that's really it. And so we started to build relationships and networks, initially locally within the council and their economic and growth development unit, then broader within Victorian State, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
So you started with scented candles, which went really well, but then you moved into the branded scents, which is what I really want to talk about. How did that happen? Like, did a brand come to you and say, we want you to make our brand smell a particular way? Like, what made you go into that world?
Initially, it was more, so we were doing branded products. So it was more of our brand commercialization. And so we were doing, branded candles, fragrance products. But once again, we're dime a dozen, so many people doing it. And that's when Jeeva came about, and he's like, let's do something different. And the scent marketing opportunity came up.
So, as doctors, medics, we know where the smell is processed in your brain is where your memory center and your emotions. And we always tie up to a memory with the smell. 70% of your day-to-day emotion is actually controlled by a smell. So when we know that, and also it's a direct connection without any sort of disruption on the olfactory pathway. So because of that, we felt like, there is something we can do unique, and we do understand how different hormones stimulate different side of your brain, and different industry want different side of brain stimulated for their brand purpose. So we are like, okay, how we can bring all of that, our science, back into the fragrance industry and create something little different. And that's what the brand scent is. So we actually create a scent for different brands according to the brand's need, according to what they wanted to create, what sort of emotion they wanted to bring to their customers, clients, partners, what you wanted to. And then we help them to send the space to anything to do with the scent. So because we have a manufacturing facility here in Melbourne, so we were utilizing that with our, so the Light and Glow had the manufacturing facilities. So that's
So
how
I imagine the scent that you create for a retail outlet is very different to a hotel, is very different. And I know I won't mention any names. I know one of your clients is a large credit card business that you have created a scent for. And in my mind, it's like, it's really interesting that they've decided to have a branded scent for themselves versus, I imagine that's for the office, I'm only guessing there, versus a retail outlet versus a hotel. What are some of the triggers in the three very different businesses that you would use?
So, for example, if it's a hotel, when someone come, it has to be a welcoming environment. So when you enter, you want to feel like it's a luxury. You wanted to be there because you're going to stay there. So they invest a lot of money in the visual side of it, the touch side of it, but they always miss out the smell side of it because, but the funny thing is smell is part of amphibian, part of your brain, means if the smell doesn't, nice, then everyone will flee this area. So, but that's where, we help the hotels and all to smell nice. It's more welcoming. Where in a retail space, it's more you want to keep your customers longer. So the longer they stay, they're going to spend more money. So we have to make sure the scent is make them to feel, relax, and they wanted to stay a little longer. Where in some other area like office spaces and all, they wanted to keep the energy level up because it's a working environment. They don't want people to relax. So we create a scent according to that. And if you are going to a gym again, you want to bring the freshness and all because you already have order. But then again, you want to bring some luxury element. So every area, when we look at it, we actually work for the brands according to their need. And that, it's not just we just pick a scent and give to them. We actually work with their team to create a scent for them. So so that
process.
It's almost a 3 months process for us to create a
when
scent.
a brand comes to you, so you take through. So how much do you immerse yourself in that business while you are creating the scent?
So the process initially starts with, obviously, when the brand approaches us, we then take their brand apart in terms of their visuals, their colors, what emotions do they want to evoke, and we create a mood board. So the team here, the design team, puts together a mood board. We also then start to using what we have in terms of their digital presence, their visuals, what kind of sense we believe that would work with their brand, but also taking into mind that it has to be very gender neutral. It can't be polarizing the scent because you are putting this in open place and space. But then we also generate a questionnaire. So the team comes in and we always say to them, we need at least 3 to 4 people from various, from the executive team right through to design or marketing, because it's really about the brand and everyone has a different perception about brand. And once again, smell is something that is very perceptive, like we perceive scents very differently. Once they come in, we do a scent discovery session. So we've got core scents that we have here, they're smelling. This gives us a direction of where we're going with the scent. And then we have 2 to 3 rounds, we develop a scent. And then finally, we have this IP scent that is the brand's. And we also become part of their marketing team. We get involved in how can you commercialize this scent, not just using it in the Havoc system, in the Econ and scenting the space, but how can you utilize it more so by building a real brand presence with this scent that they've created.
Have you had a really memorable or an unexpected brief from a client?
Oh yeah, we have quite a different brief. We call it olfactory logo. So when what Suji was mentioning, so everyone have a digital logo. Yeah. Olfactory logo is a it's a memory we build for the brand with that sense. So that's why we call olfactory logo. Yes, we do have quite a few clients want different. For example, Vegemite want a Vegemite smell. For
I don't think of anything worse than a Vegemite smell, but anyway.
And we had KFC for a fried chicken. So there's quite a few brands, but they use it for it's more of a
Campaign.
gimmick. It's a campaign.
Gimmicky. Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not that they're going to
The
utilize every
logo.
day,
Yeah.
but that campaign actually give them the brand it's more of a campaign-based scent.
Yeah. So that's
So
interesting. So how do you measure the success? Because whether it's gimmicky or whether it's in an office or, a retail environment where you want me to stay longer and spend more money, how do you measure the success of the BrandScent?
So a lot of the time they always think that on a digital marketing and all they can measure the success with so the return on investment of course is very important for every business. In the brand scent side of it, or when you create a scent for a brand, it's not about just immediate success alone. It's about how you are creating a emotional connection with your client. And that's actually helped them on a long run because you're going to get more word of mouth referrals. You're going to get more people talking about the brand.
Mm.
So the more people started to understand that, and we are getting more and more inquiries on that. And Suji always mentioned that it's not about
Yeah, because often the question we get asked is, what's my ROI? And I often say to them, it's your return on imagination. That's your ROI. So
I like that.
some brands really do love to think outside the box. So if a brand wants to stand out and do something different, scent marketing is the way to go. But then in saying that, like with Skydeck as a client, we have got measured results and data where we have seen an increase in sales in Q1 of 2023 from the date we implemented a scent. We then took the sales data and it showed, what is it, 32% increase?
Yeah.
Mm.
So because some places they may have a cafe or something which wasn't performing well, but if you look at their consumer, who is coming, who is your customer, from that, if we get the information that okay, young children with a couple of like kids under the age of 12 as a family is coming to that space, so targeting the young kids were the easier one. So putting something to increase, them to buy some cookies. And then when the kids want cookies, the dad want a coffee and mom want a sandwich, like it's all of a sudden, they were not selling much to, a good number of sales. So there are measurable, like we can measurable outcomes are there. But not in everywhere you can measure
Not
it.
everywhere. Because the thing is, and I'm just sort of just listening to you and just sort of, I guess, looping the points that you've made. If you're talking about branded scents that relates to memory, so I have certain memories of where I was born, how I was brought up, the country I was born in, all of those things, and I walk into an environment that triggers or evokes those emotions, I'm more likely to be reconnected to that environment over and over again, regardless of what. If I don't buy the first time, I might go the second or third time and buy it because subconsciously I'm being driven back to that environment because of all the memories that it brings back to me. Am I getting that right in terms of how
That's
that
right,
actually works? Yeah.
Yes. Another one is, I would say, Mimosa Homes, what they have done is every display home, like here, when we are going to build a house, if it's a brand new house, of course, the first thing is you go to the display home to have a look at the houses. So sending from the display home to the office spaces when they come to the color selection or electrical selection or planning and all of that. And then when they sign a contract, they get a gift with the same smell. And then at the end, when they get the keys in their hand for their, home, they're going to have a gift with the same scent. So we call it scent journey. So they're actually taking the whole experience, how they will remember the first day they went to their house to they're having their own house, So that's another way of marketing, So and then they always like it, and they've been working with us for almost now 6 years or 5 years because of the return, customers and a lot of referrals. They said the word.
Do you change that scent? So you've been with Mimosa Homes for like 5-6 years. Have you changed the scent in that period of time, or has it always been the same?
The same. You don't want to change the scent because if once it's your signature scent, you actually want it. And that's one of the reasons when we create a scent, we actually take so much time and effort to create something unique because you don't want to change it. It's unless you change your brand, whole branding is changes. You wanted to keep the same scent as a consistent, so that will actually help with the memory. Because like you mentioned, every time when you go to a temple or to a particular place, if you have the same smell, you will remember it, and you'll be like, oh, I remember this one when I was a child. I used to go with my grandma to this place, and that is what the memory is, and that is what we try to create for brands when they really.
Have you gone offshore with this business? Because I imagine that working in different countries, so different ethnic groups or different, countries as such, will have different requirements. So, how a scent works in a retail space in Melbourne will be different to how a smell works in a retail space in Singapore, for example. So if you were asked to do that, would you take that into account?
Of course, yes. Yeah. So when we look at it, we look at we just pull apart the whole brand. We take the elements from their color of their logo to the design and who is their audience, so everything. So if we look at it, okay, this particular ethnic group is coming, and if they are, more known to a particular smell, we will target those scent notes. So it's not that, you have a scent, like we don't pick a scent from our shelf and give it to someone. It's actually
it's created. Yeah.
So we take every element possible to make sure, it's our interest as well to create something unique. So that will actually help the brand to stand out. And then they will be using it more.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest mistakes brands make when they're trying to create a scent for their brand identity and trying to integrate it into their businesses? What are some of the common mistakes that they make?
Often it's, I think because it's personal. Scent is so personal. So that's why when we say when they come in to answer those questionnaire is leave what your personal preferences behind and really think about the brand. And we reiterate that throughout the hour and a half consult is that have the brand hat on. And that's why we have these mood boards that we've created when we do these scent discovery sessions, so that it's front and center of mind, that they're constantly looking at this, and it's the brand that they've got to think about their consumer. So we ask questions about who is your consumer, your ideal client. We do that, all business, within business, we find our ideal client. We'll focus on him or her and them and see what their preferences are. And that's so the problem, sometimes is that some people start to think, oh, I love vanilla, or I love this, and it's like we've got to really draw them back away from that and then into this. And that's why we always say let's have 3-4 people. So if it's one person doing it, it tends to have more of a personal influence, less of a brand influence. Whereas when you have a team together, it's around a team.
They'll be discussing as well in between the team, So that's exactly how Suji mentioned. It's very important that it's not about your personal preference. It's about what the brand actually needed, and we always guide that.
Yeah.
It's so true, because every time I go, like I was born in Fiji, so every time I buy, I come out from home at duty free and I buy those body creams and stuff. I always go for the coconut, the French penny, because when I put it on in Melbourne, it reminds me of home. But that's a very personal taste, right? So if you had me doing a mood board, I'd be going French penny and coconut every single time, which may not work for everybody in Australia.
And that may not be the right one for a brand, which is if it's a brand with a blue and this and that, like you have a different smell.
Coconut be quite polarizing. So that's another thing, sway them away from the polarizing, the scent. Oh, I love cherry, or I love this. And we're like, we can put it in there, but we tone it down to make sure it's more universal in terms of the scent. And that's what the biggest struggle is.
So tell me, are they, like, if I think of if I want different emotions, so I want relaxation, I want luxury, I want the ability to maybe think about purchasing something, excitement, trust, like if they're the emotions I want to evoke in my customers, are there particular scents that actually do that?
Yeah, definitely. So there are different scents do different feeling emotions because of what they stimulate as a hormone. So if you are thinking of you wanted to create a fresh luxury sort of smell, we'll go into more of a green, and
Yeah.
citrusy notes.
Notes.
If you are going into more of a, really luxury, woody smell.
Sandalwood, cedarwood tend to be. Saffron is a little exotic as well. So they tend to be
Mm.
the scent notes. So we would suggest woody undertones are very luxury. Jasmine, again, is in a lot of luxury perfume. So we kind of go down that way. But again, if it's fresh, but they don't want the lemon lime smell, bergamot, it's beautiful. It's still so really we fine tune when we ask them to list their, I guess, their core values and how they want them. We list them in order. Where do you want? Is it more about energizing, or is it like, are you targeting a luxury audience? Where those things. But a scent, when we create it, is made of three parts: top notes, middle notes, and base notes. And we can incorporate those luxury notes within each of that pyramid of sorts. So there's almost a fragrance would have around 15 to 16 notes is what we usually ask them to create. And so we're pulling apart and putting things together. And some notes work better than others together. But yeah, these tend to be the more luxury ones that people, because I know that oud is another one. It's an amber, beautiful warming scent. But those scents might not work if you're in, say, for example, a sporting facility. So we work with like sporting clubs and things, and we've done scents for their spaces. But there, I would suggest more fresh, more energizing, and if it's a little bit of lavender to calm the senses, because before the players go out on the pitch. So really, we've got to take all aspects, and also when we're picking those notes, even if it resonates with the brand, is it going to evoke the emotions that you want it to emote?
How busy is your industry? How competitive is because it seems like this is the next thing that people are going to move towards, or already probably have. So how busy, how competitive is your industry?
The the it is it is getting quite busy. Competitive wise, I don't think so. We have other brands competing us in Australian market. Uh, as a clinical side of it, who can actually talk about clinical part to the scent side. But in a global side, there are two other brands there.
It's very
But
niche.
but
Yeah.
but it's very niche area, because a lot of the brands think that, oh, maybe it's not now, maybe it's not. But then when they come, it's can be, yeah. So
It's a niche industry at the moment, and that's
Mm.
because it is time consuming and it's bespoke. So the agencies that are out there at the moment is really kind of, I want scent marketing, I want ambient marketing more so, and it's more generic. So they'll have a bank of 200 scents, and you pick one going, I love this is what I'm going to go for. But in terms of creating something absolutely bespoke for a brand, getting them involved, mood boards and that sort of process, we're the only ones doing
You're
it.
the only ones doing it. Wow.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
awesome. Congratulations on that. Where do you see the future of this business? So, at some point, people are going to jump on this idea and go, hey, this is great. There's only one other company in Australia doing it. We need to do it too. So where do you see your business in 5 or 10 years' time?
So we are into more advanced. So when they come to this level, we will be in quite further advanced. So we are looking into med tech, how we are going to use the scent in the medical uh, side of it, and also DigiScent, how we can use the scent in the haptic suit when you are in the virtual reality. So these are the things
Right.
coming up, and so that's it will take
A little
new
bit of
brands
time.
to
We're always, I think, one of the reasons we actually went from Light and Glow to BrandScent now to this medtech is that every couple of years we get this sort of itch for innovation. So we're always pushing that boundary, trying to do something new. And so with BrandScent, what started out with just, I guess, branding the fragrance product, then evolved into scent marketing, more generic like the other brands. But we thought, how can we do it different? And that's where the bespoke part came in. And now, because we are, just Jeeva mentioned, the medical kind of hat still sits there. We've worked with nursing homes and childcare centres. How do we increase satiety? How do we relax the residents, alleviating pain points for owners? And so that's one of the things that we've been doing. And having done that, we're like, how do we now take it to the next level? And that's really where the concept, we're working with Monash University at the moment, doing some R&D. And it's really about creating a safe space for people when they're on the go, and using scent in that purpose. So yeah, that's where the future lies for us, as we're constantly pushing.
How is tech going to impact this? Because, the world of AI, we're living in it now. You look at so many things around us are driven through AI. How does it impact what you do?
And
So,
that's it.
so that med tech is exactly the tech is where we are looking at it. So we know that when if someone is going to have a anxiety or
Mm-hmm.
and we know by the tech, okay, the heart rates are going up and the blood pressure is, going down, or we know that okay, this is the time to release the scent to, calm them down. So we are working on, in those tech area where.
So you literally could wear a vial of something around you that's linked into your phone that measures your heart rate or your blood pressure or whatever.
Yeah.
And if my anxiety levels are going up, it could release a scent that
That's
will
right.
calm me down. That is awesome. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. So
Amazing.
it will talk to your, smart watch
Mm.
through your phone or, through your watch. And then, yeah, so that when it's things that's the time to release, it will release it.
And then the
Wow.
other stuff that you were talking about is like Skydeck are already doing when they have that eggshell where they're taking you through parts of Australia and they're releasing scents to the sensory journey. But that's when we're walking around. I mean, Apple are already doing it with the whole goggles and things like that. So if you're walking in, outback Australia, the scent would, be that. Or if you're in Hawaii or Fiji or something, the scents would spray and it would be different. So it will be
Mm.
scents are very transportive. And
Mm.
that's where the power lies, because it transports you into these places, and it's great for brands to create their identity, so you transport them there.
Because we know that the virtual reality is real, even though it's not real, but uh,
But
Yeah,
we
yeah,
know that
it's
we are
coming.
heading
Yeah,
there. And when you're in virtual reality, the only thing is actually going to take your memory is the scent.
it's a scent. Mm.
So by investing on scent for bigger brands, it's that going to help them when they are, advertising in the virtual reality. Because if I give a scent of KFC, for example, you will straight away, oh, I know there's a fried chicken. Where's KFC?
Mm-hmm.
You will look
Mm.
for,
You want to go and have some. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's the exact thing we are trying to do in the digital
Mm.
world.
Now, I can't let you go without talking about Shark Tank. Um, it was a few years ago that you were on there. Whose idea was it to go into Shark Tank?
It was Suji's because
It's Suji. Yes, she was
yeah,
going. That wasn't me. It was her.
it wasn't mine. I didn't even know that she applied because I was in, I did a road trip from here to Port Douglas, 43 days. So I was on the road trip and she called me and said, hey, you need to come back. We got a filming. I was like, filming for what? And that's, yeah.
Yeah, because I think it was in 2023, that's right, when we are in May, or in at that time. And for us, the economy obviously has been
Mm.
difficult. A lot of people have been struggling, and you have to be as a startup and as a business that's scaling, you've got to be very strategic in the way that you do your marketing. It needs to get eyeballs on the brand, but it can't be too costly. And so that's really where I needed to. So I thought this came up. Shark Tank had been on a hiatus for 5 years, and it was coming back in 2023. So I said to them, why not? BrandScent's novel. It's a novel concept. Let's put it out there and see what happens. So after a few, I think, video interviews and things like that, said, let's get you in. And that's when I rang Jeeva and said, hey, we're going to Sydney and we're filming. It was funny because just before we went in, they said to us, just a side note, we're filming, I think, 100 and something, sessions or with people, but only 32 will get aired. And so you've got to make great TV, you've got to get an offer. And we're like, all right, okay, we've got to go in there and give it our all. But it really worked because it gave our brand authority and credibility,
Mm.
but it also got visibility. And
Yeah.
that's really, and so we've started to, and because it is B2B, for brands, and it's been a longer journey in terms of it's not
Mm.
an overnight success, but in saying that, it has definitely been worthwhile.
Mm. What sort of investment would I need to make as a business if I was to go down this track? I mean, is it something only really available to big business because they've got the capability of doing it, or can a small business do it? Like, sort of, what sort of investment would I be looking at making? Just, ballpark figures.
Yeah, so the scent creation side of it, that 3 months process, it's we charge $5,000 plus GST. That's to sit down and create, that the whole journey process. And then once the scent is done, then it's how you want to utilize. So before we even start doing that, we'll ask, what you are trying to do with the scent, how you're going to use the scent. So if they're going to put it through the
air conditioning, or
office space through the aircon, it's probably will cost them a couple of $100 for a medium-sized space to send it through the aircon a month. And then any products they buy, it's all manufactured here. So we are, as a manufacturer, they'll be getting really reasonable price than they're buying from some other places. So
it's Australian made as well.
And it's Australian made, yeah. Congratulations to both of you. So it's an amazing, wonderful story, and what a great, success story you both are. All the best with this. For me, it's like every business should go out and get a scented product for their office, for their business, for their shop, for whatever it is. And if people want to do that, what's the best way to connect with you?
So we've got a website, brandscent.com.au, but if you shoot through an email to corporate@brandscent.com.au, but all the details are on the website just through an inquiry. And you can even play around the website. You'll see client testimonials and things like that to understand. But yes, scent marketing is definitely, it's not that it's completely novel though. It's been around since like 1970s, but no one really kind of thought it was a thing, and except a few big players. But now we've come into the game and made it more available to people, big business, small businesses, that are ready to think outside the box.
And I love the way you've put science into this as well. It's not just about, I can go to a shop and pick a scent that I like, that's my favorite. You've actually put a lot of science into developing a scent for a brand, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's exactly
and
it.
you can connect us on LinkedIn as well.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you both for your time. It was a great conversation, and all the best.
No, thank you so much for having us. And
yeah,
it's been great chatting.
If you like what you've heard, please share, rate and review this podcast. And don't forget to share it with anyone who might benefit from hearing it. The producer of Future Fit Leadership is Maritza Barone from Guide Your Light Network. If you would like to reach out to me, please DM me on any of my social media platforms. I'm available for speaking at conferences or consulting to your business. Future Fit is created in partnership with Future Leadership, a capability ecosystem for boards and executives. If you'd like to join the community and receive a free takeaway each week, sign up at the Future Exchange app in my show notes. Thank you for having me in your space.
This is a Guide Your Light Network production, creating podcasts with purpose.